Hare Krishna. Today we came on a new route. I didn't know where we were. When we got to this Belpukur, I had to ask, I said, what's the name of this village? I thought it was Shankarapur. And they said, this is Belpukur. I was surprised we got here so quick. And they told me that this is a new road, a new route they've made, and it saves 2.5 kilometers from the original walk. So it was quite a short walk we had today. Anyway, because the ground was damp this morning, so we didn't stop at our own land there at Krodadweep. Rudradweep. We didn't stop on the land there. And we just went in and had darshan at the Rudradweep Gaudiya Math. So Rudradweep is the island of Sakyam, friendship, and His Holiness Deva Damodar Maharaj was explaining to us something about friendship. Friendship and Atmanivedanam, full surrender, are very, very elevated forms of bhakti. When we practice devotional service, to try to cultivate that kind of relation, that kind of devotion, Sakyam and Atmanivedanam, you have to be on the platform of Raga Bhakti. You have to be a very advanced devotee, in other words. So we're encouraged to put a lot of emphasis onto Shravanam and Kirtan, to try to become Krishna's friend. That is not so easy thing. And to give up everything, that's very difficult. Yeah. So we're encouraged, however, cultivate the other processes, particularly the hearing and the chanting. When the hearing and chanting are good, then naturally smaranam will come about. So we'll be going to, on the final day, we'll go to the Antardweep. That is a place of Atmanivedanam. And this is Rudradweep. This is the place of Sakyam, friendship. Friendship with Krishna. We missed the place. One of the places which is here in this area is called Shankarapur. So Shankarapur is the place where, as we heard from Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, where Shankaracharya came. So Shankaracharya, that's more than 1,000 years ago, like 1,200 years ago. Shankaracharya came before the Vaishnava Acharyas. Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Padma Purana tells us how Lord Shiva was instructed by the Lord. Mayavada asat shastram prachanam bodham uchate. The Lord told, Lord Vishnu told Lord Shiva, he said that in the Kali Yuga, I want you to take birth in a Brahmana family and teach Mayavada philosophy. And he described Mayavada Asat Shastram. Asat Shastram, meaning it's a material philosophy, material religion, material teachings. It's not an eternal dharma. And Prachanam Bodham Uchate. Mayavada is covered Buddhism. Buddhism is a Gnostic philosophy. It's atheism. So Mayavada is also another kind of atheism. In Buddhism, they will never speak about God. And if you ask them, isn't Buddha God? They'll say no. Buddha is Buddha. He's not man and he's not God. He is Buddha. I preach in Buddhist countries. I know, I had the experience. People think, oh, it must be so easy. They're Buddhists. Buddha is an avatar of Vishnu. But Buddhists will not accept that. Jayadev may have said that in his Dasavatar Stotra, but the Buddhist people will they'll never go for that, never accept that. So Buddhism is an atheistic philosophy. They don't believe in God. They don't even believe in Atma. Sometimes they will speak about Atma. But their understanding of Atma is it is material. And it can be annihilated, it can be disintegrated, it can become nothing. It can become the void. One of the countries which I have to visit is Taiwan. It's a Buddhist country, predominantly Buddhism, very powerful Buddhist groups there. So they have their own television channel every day, the whole day, Buddhist masters speaking. You'll never ever hear the word God from any of them. They will speak only about the void, the nothingness. In Chinese they say Kong. Kong. Kong means zero. So this is what Shankaracharya was defeating. You see, Lord Buddha came and he led the people away from the Vedas. Because, and that is one reason why we don't celebrate Buddha Jayanti. Sometimes people ask us, Buddha is one of the avatars of Vishnu, why are you not celebrating Buddha Jayanti? It is not on the Vaishnava calendar. And it's not on the Vaishnava calendar because Lord Buddha rejected the Vedas. He rejected the Vedas, so we don't put him on the Vaishnava calendar. So we don't celebrate Buddha Jayanti. It comes at practically the same day as Lord Nrsimha Chaturdasi, I think. But anyway, we don't celebrate that appearance of Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha came to lead the people away from the Vedas. It was a reaction against the social system because the Brahmanas had become corrupted and degraded. They were abusing the Vedas and they were encouraging the slaughter of animals. Wholesale slaughtering of animals was going on in the name of Vedic sacrifice. The Brahmanas were encouraging Vedic sacrifice, and they would say, it's in the Vedas. Yeah? And even, we know when Lord Chaitanya met with the Chankasi, even the Chankasi was saying that, well, in your scriptures, you also kill. So Lord Buddha, he was a reaction against this anomaly in the social structure. The Brahmanas had become fallen. They had become materialistic. They had become corrupted, degraded. They were interested in just simply doing rituals to make more money, to become rich and comfortable in their material life. They were not thinking of guiding the people to spiritual elevation. They were just simply thinking how to get money, make themselves rich. And there was so much animal sacrifice going on. And Buddhism had become so rampant around India. It's unbelievable. If you go to Mathura, now Mathura is the birthplace of Lord Krishna. Mathura became the capital of Buddhism. And if you go to the museum in Mathura, you'll see so many Buddhas are there. it was so full of Buddhism. And Lord Buddha, he had come like it 2,500 years ago or more now, when Lord Buddha appeared, and he led the people away from the Vedas because the corruption in the social system. He thought, what is the good of following these brahmanas? So he led the people away from the varnashram system. When you go away from the varnashram system, then you don't need brahmanas anymore. The people were having to hear from the brahmanas, take instructions from the brahmana. And the brahmana, they were given so much respect in society, and we know that brahmanas are allowed to go and take charity from everyone. Right? In the Kali Yuga, it said brahmana can do 6 things. They're meant to study scriptures and teach the scriptures. They can worship the deities, and they can teach others to worship the deities. They can accept charity, and they can give charity. So it said in the Kali Yuga, brahmanas are expert in only one of these 6 things. Which one do you think they're expert in?
Study.
Yes, right. They're expert in give charity. I'm Brahmana, give Tora dan dijiye. Brahmana seva ke liye. Right? This is the words we'll say like that. So this was the failure of the varnashram system. So Lord Buddha led the people away from the varnashram system. He thought, we don't need this. It's not doing any good. The people are not being elevated. So Lord Buddha brought the people away from the Vedas, and the result is they didn't have. What is the Buddha's teaching? Everyone is equal. Everyone is the same. Everyone. There's no division of society. So everyone is, people think, oh, that's very nice, you know. Just like in socialism or communism, they have similar kind of teaching like that. But is everyone the same? No, of course, everyone is not the same. Some people are educated and some people are not. Some people are healthy and some people are sick. Some people have wealth and some people don't have wealth. There's so many differences between people. But in every society we see all around the world, there are the so-called educated class of people, like the brahmanas, people who like to study and they like to also inquire about the absolute truth. And then there are people who are Kshatriya, who like to manage and who like to take care and protect people from injustice. And then there are Vaishyas, who like to do farming and grow crops and do business and take care of the cows. And then there are the Sudras, the common people who are just workers. They will work in the service of others. So in every society we see these 4 different divisions of people are there. However, Lord Buddha led the people away from the Vedas, and so everyone thought, well, we're all equal. So nobody wants to do anything. Instead, what is everyone doing? Well, the Buddha's teaching is nirvishesha and sunyavada. Everything is void. Nothing is real. You are not real. Right? And so what do? The Buddhists they would just simply sit. Don't do anything. Just sit and meditate on the void. And so that's what happened. People all stopped working. Nobody would go and plow the fields. nobody would grow crops. Everyone was just, no, I have to meditate. Nothing is real. Why I should do anything? And the ladies all said, why I should do any cooking, why I should do, like that. Everyone just stopped doing anything. Everything just fell apart. The fields were not taken care of, the animals were not taken care of, the homes were not taken care of. Everyone was just, they said, nothing is real, everything is void. There's no purpose to anything, why I should do anything. So this was Buddhism. And then Shankaracharya came along. And he taught, everything is not zero. The Buddhists are saying everything is zero, and Shankaracharya comes along and said, everything is not zero, everything is one. Yes, everything is one. He's teaching this Mayavada. Mayavada asatyastram. Prachanam bodhamuchyate. It's covered Buddhism. It's just a little change from nothing to one. So Shankaracharya, he's given the credit that he propagated this Advaita philosophy, Mayavada philosophy around the world, around India, Bharatvarsha particularly. And of course Shankaracharya, he was in the world only 32 years, a very short time. But he made a very major contribution. His he wrote commentaries on major scriptures, and he wrote even Jagannath Astikam. It's accredited to Shankaracharya. So he did a lot of good things as well. So Shankaracharya brought back the Vedas. And not only did he bring back the Vedas, but he brought back high standard of Brahmins. He brought back Brahmanas and sannyasis who were renounced, who were very strict and sense-controlled, which Brahmanas are meant to be. The people had lost faith in the Brahminical culture because of the degradation of the Brahminical class. But Shankaracharya re-established their faith, that they saw people who were genuinely renounced and genuinely dedicated to higher goals in life. So Shankaracharya, by preaching the Mayavada philosophy, he was able to bring back the Vedas. So that was very, very good. Problem was, of course, he was simply teaching everything is one. Everything is Brahman, right? He gave importance to the statement in the scriptures, Brahman Satyam Jagat Mithya, that only the Brahman is truth and the material world is false. So there's a big Sankirtan party coming. This is a very popular place at this time of the year. Many Kirtan parties all come to see Madan Gopal. So Shankaracharya brought back the Vedas, but he only taught this partial realization of the absolute truth. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Vedanti tattvam vijam tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabhyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth, they call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So when Shankaracharya was teaching Advaita, Mayavada philosophy, he was teaching only part of the absolute truth. He was only teaching about the impersonal Brahman. But after Shankaracharya, then the Vaishnava Acharyas came. particularly Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, then Nimbarka Vishnu Swami, and they defeated the philosophy of Shankaracharya. And then Lord Chaitanya came and he took two elements from each of the four sampradayas and incorporated them into his own Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava line. So Shankaracharya's teaching, of course, we generally condemn that because it's covered Buddhism. It's not teaching anything about God. It's just simply teaching about the impersonalism, about the impersonal oneness, all pervasiveness of everything. So when Srila Prabhupada went to America, then the devotees, they were given one mantra to worship Srila Prabhupada. We had, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami. So the devotees said to Prabhupada, they said, your own guru has got 4 mantras glorifying him. They said, can't we have more mantras for you? So at the request of the devotees, Prabhupada composed this other pranam mantra, which we offer to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada talks, his verse was, Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Precharini Nirdisesha Shunyavada Paschacha Deshatari. That you're so kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western world just to destroy the darkness of impersonalism and voidism. So the Western world is full of Prabhupada wanted, at least in the Western world, we've tried to give Krishna consciousness. But actually all over the world, it's not just only the Western world, but here also, even in India, Bharatvarsha, there's a lot of impersonalism. If you ever go to the book fair in Calcutta, I had the opportunity a few years ago, I went to the book fair. I went to the book fair in Calcutta and people all come, have you got the Vedanta Sutra? Everybody wants to read Vedanta Sutra. So I say, well, we have the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. We have Srimad Bhagavatam. But they say, no, I want Vedanta Sutra. Actually, people want, they want Vedanta Sutra because they are impersonalists. And that is what the Mayavada philosophers all study, the Vedanta Sutra. Prakashananda Saraswati, in the times of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Mayavada sannyasis were residing there in Benares, and they were all studying Vedanta Sutra. And generally that is the business of the Mayavadi sannyasis. They simply want to study Vedanta Sutra and speculate on the absolute truth. So we point out to them that this Vedanta Sutra, this is actually the compilation of Srila Vyasadeva. And Srila Vyasadeva himself has compiled Vedanta Sutra. And this Vedanta, he has compiled not only Vedanta Sutra, but he's also compiled his commentary on Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. And at one point, there was a challenge that this line coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not bona fide. And the claim was that these Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they don't have any commentary on Vedanta Sutra. All of the other 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, they have their own commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So when the challenge came up, then the devotees in Vrindavan, they responded to the challenge by saying that the commentary on Vedanta Sutra is already there by Srila Vyasadeva. It's the author's own commentary, and it's Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. But these people who were challenging, they said, well, all the four Sampradayas, they all have their own commentary on Vedanta Sutra. You Gaudiya Vaishnavas, you don't have any commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So then, at that time, Baladeva Vidyabhusan, he had been residing in Vrindavan under the care of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and this Baladeva Vidyabhusan, he was originally born and brought up in a line coming from Madhvacharya, a family of Vaishnavas from the line of Madhva, and he'd gone to Vrindavan and he got the association of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had trained him in all the aspects of philosophy of Chaitanya Vaishnavism. So Baladeva Vidyabhusan was sent there to Jaipur because the challenge was coming from a group of Vaishnavas called the Ramanandis, and they were telling the king of Jaipur that these Gaudiya Vaishnavas are not bona fide and they have no right to worship this deity of Govindaji. Like that. So Baladeva Vidyabhusan came and he stayed there in Jaipur, just near to Jaipur. There's one place there. He went and resided there and he prayed to Govindaji, and it said Govindaji spoke to him and he compiled the Govinda Bhashya, which was the name he gave for his commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And Srila Prabhupada so much appreciated this commentary which Baladeva Vidyabhusan wrote on Vedanta Sutra, that Prabhupada dedicates his own Bhagavad Gita to Baladeva Vidyabhusan for compiling such a nice commentary. So Srila Prabhupada appreciated so much that Govinda Bhashya. So now we have our own commentary as well, but still we're generally satisfied to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything has been given to us there. And there we have Srila Prabhupada's own commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the Vedic literature. So in this way, Shankarapur, Shankaracharya coming to this place, he's told, you're not needed here, because the people here, they're devotees, they're interested in bhakti. They're not interested in the dry philosophy of impersonalism, Mayavada. It's very dry. There's hardly there's any pleasure in Mayavada philosophy. People who take to the impersonal path, then they get free of material suffering, but they never experience any real transcendental pleasure. Transcendental pleasure only comes about by engaging in devotional service, bhakti. Just the Mayavada philosophers, they just simply spend their time negating everything. What is, no, not this, not this, not this, niti. Prabhupada describes it, niti, not this. They simply reject everything material. So Mayavada sannyasis, for example, they take sannyas to renounce the world. But a Vaishnava sannyas, a Vaishnava takes sannyas to utilize everything in the world in the service of Lord Krishna. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada did that. He wanted to show people that Vaishnava sannyasis, They don't have to walk barefooted everywhere. They can ride in a big car if they want. They can use everything for the service of Lord Krishna. So that is, of course, real renunciation. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Uchate. So devotees, we practice renunciation like that. To utilize everything, not for our sense gratification, but for the service of Lord Krishna. But the Mayavada philosophy is dry renunciation. Just like when it comes to taking prasadam. We were distributing books one time, and I had the cookbook, one of the cookbooks. It was a book by a devotee. He used to be in Australia. His name was Kurma. He was very famous for years. He was on satellite television with his cooking classes. So we had one of his books, and it's full of pictures of so many very delicious looking dishes. So I was showing this book to one person who was a Mayavada person, and he said, "Oh, this is all sense gratification. Look at all this food. It's just sense gratification. You people eat like this." I said, "No," I said, "this food is what we offer to the deities. It's not that we have to eat all these things, but we cook very nice food for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. We don't just cook for our own sense gratification. Mayavadas, they're doing everything for their pleasure. They're trying to minimize their sense gratification, but they have no higher purpose. But in Krishna consciousness, we have the higher purpose. We want to utilize everything for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. So this kind of point, this is difficult for Mayavadas to understand, to use everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Why? Because they don't believe in a Supreme Lord. They're thinking, well, Krishna comes from the Brahman, everything comes from the Brahman, ultimately there's only the Brahman. And when Krishna comes, he's a form of the material world. They cannot understand how the Lord has a transcendental body. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mayavada aparadi. He said, those who are presenting Mayavada philosophy, they're offenders to Lord Krishna because they're denying the transcendental form of the Lord. They're saying that when Lord Krishna comes in this world, he comes with a material body, like this. So we're preaching, of course, against this kind of philosophy, and we do it mainly by distributing Prabhupada's books. That's why our book distribution program is so important. Let people hear from Prabhupada's books, and they can get the real message of the truth. You know, as a young boy, I remember going to libraries, and I used to see so many times pictures of Vivekananda. Vivekananda, his books, and Ramakrishna, these books, they were in our public libraries, where I was brought up in the UK, and in the public libraries they had these books, and I would see pictures of Vivekananda, and I can remember. And you know, they put their books, they spread their philosophy everywhere. So Srila Prabhupada said, we have to distribute our literature and make it more prominent than all of these other bogus philosophies. And Prabhupada gave the example. He said, just like in Calcutta, you see in Calcutta, some years ago, there was also the government. Jyoti Basu was the chief minister, and it was a communist government. Prabhupada said, how did communism get in India? He said, the Russians never came there and preached. He said, they just sent some books. The books came there and people got the books and they read the book, and this is how they took up communism. Because in the books they say, oh, everybody's equal, everybody is the same, there's no discrimination, and people thought this sounds very nice. But it's not true. It doesn't happen like that. It's bogus propaganda. And Prabhupada saw himself. Prabhupada went to Moscow and he saw one man is sweeping the street and the other man is riding in the big car. Is everybody equal? No, of course not. Even in China today, if I ask people, is everybody equal? They say no. They know that truth. But sometimes people are a bit blind. They're thinking, oh, everybody's equal, but it doesn't happen like that. Everybody is not equal. So the ideal social system is there in Varnashram. But Varnashram, everyone is meant to care for each other. That the Brahmanas are meant to be sacrificing and caring and guiding and helping people to develop materially and spiritually. So the ideal social system is given to us by Lord Krishna. But everyone has to cooperate and help each other. Not that one person is better than another. Oh, I am Brahmana, I'm high class. Oh, you are Sudra, you are low class. That is very wrong. No. We're all spiritual. We're all souls. We're all Atmas. In the eyes of Krishna, we're all equal. Materially, we're not equal. But spiritually, we're all equal. We're all spiritual beings. So Shankaracharya was teaching everyone's a spiritual being, but he was not teaching about the supreme spiritual being. That had to come later by the Vaishnava Acharyas. So therefore Lord Chaitanya told Shankaracharya, you don't need to come here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.